13.8. They are destroying lane with an average of 14 CS up at 15 minutes.
Well, Cody and Ole have certainly been good in the 2v2 as well, so eyes on that matchup as we move into Champ Select. LeBlanc and Elise, though, the first two bans for Dignitas, and Zach and Nunu following there from Immortals. There's a Thresh ban for Dig to round up their first three, and I do like those two jungle bans from Immortals. One standard and one very much targeted.
Yeah, if you want to free up Xmithy to have a good game against Shrimp, Shrimp is a kind of a control jungler right now where he tries to control the enemy jungler, but we'll see what Immortals ban here. Caitlyn on the table, Maokai on the table, Cho'Gath, Kalista. There's so much that's OP right now that's up that I feel like we're at a point where so many things are OP, it's like, yeah, everybody's going to get at least 2 to 3 things.
Well, there's a Cassio ban, interestingly, but I mean, it's funny to think about Shrimp as this kind of Nunu player because the other side we used to see was the hyper-aggressive kind of challenger level Lee Sin player. That was the other thing he was really known for. So
Rek'Sai, like,
showing a lot of
really
versatility as the first pick. Caitlyn is the selection for Dig.
Yeah, Caitlyn comes through, but you're going to have to think about what's the Maokai possibly, the Jarvan for Immortals, and then the double flex from them could possibly come through. You're picking something like Jarvan, Maokai, or Cho'Gath here if you're Immortals. Flame did have a good Cho'Gath game yesterday, but of course picking that does leave you susceptible to something like a Gnar from Someday.
And again, Immortals are a team that have not necessarily run with the meta that often. They're a team that really does like to do their own thing. I think their style and the way they approach winning games have been very consistent, but not necessarily with the champions that are at the top of everyone's tier list. So that's actually first pick Jhin for Cody. Pick that he's had a lot of success with, especially in aggressively in lane with Ole. Matching up against Altec's Caitlyn should be interesting if they can find a nice support for Ole to get, and he often eats bans, but it does feel like Jarvan is just the pick for Immortals, and they're going to pass up both tanks potentially here.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like they're picking one of those three, and Jarvan is the one that doesn't stand out to most teams right now. They're usually picking the Maokai early, they're usually picking the Cho'Gath early, and flexing one or the other, or possibly both if you're on red side and get them. But Xmithy really likes this Jarvan for getting flashes and having those early gank routes, and it can go to the top side, but it's a little rare that we're seeing it there.
Nice to see the Urgot flash there from Keen. That's the other one I expected him to hover. He's actually has been playing quite a lot of Garen mid in solo queue. I do not expect it here on the LCS stage, but Keen has kind of become a player that now just plays standard and defensive for the most part, but he was a wild card for so long, and I think his personal performance has been that way, certainly, as he's just going to get Syndra here for this one. Maokai going to join that pick, but we want to talk about consistency on both sides here. I think Keen's the player for me that needs to just show up a little bit more. When he looks good, he looks incredible, and maybe like a top 5 mid laner in the NLCS. Otherwise, he just looks kind of average. And yes, he is a player that can get stuff done for his team, but is that really enough when you're trying to vie for those top spots? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you there, because we're talking about consistency and where's the ceiling for Dignitas, was the question you asked earlier. Someday, we know he's really good. He puts up incredible numbers game after game. Altec has done the same now, and Keen is really the carry on the team that you do need to find that consistent performance from, and he needs to start stepping it up because there are a lot of really great mid laners in the league, and he's up against Pobelter right now, who the question was posed yesterday, when do we start calling Pobelter one of the top mid laners in North America, because he has been performing well.
Yep, he's going to get Corki here as well, and definitely a champion he can, and already has carried on this split. There's a Blitzcrank ban there from Immortals, so again, targeting those supports.
And I think looking at the bottom of the screen where you see the type of performances Pobelter is putting up, the 14.6 KDA on Corki is what jumps out to me here, because he has played 5 games of it, 100% win rate. This will be his 6th game of Corki so far this split, and that means he's just crushing it on that champion, whereas some people are struggling to close games out with the Corki.
Well, there's a Shen ban for Dignitas, so we'll see if they maybe target Show here as well. Remember that Maokai can be a flex also, so could maybe be closer to Shrimp's pick here as Janna, the second support ban there from Immortals. So banning picks away kind of from Ole. He can play both these champions as well, but really respecting Adrian there in that support matchup.
Yeah, respecting Adrian a ton. And I think there's a kind of that, I want to say false narrative about Adrian doesn't really play a whole lot of things. Adrian will latch on to a few champions that are really good in the meta, and then he'll play those, but he always has something up his sleeve. You think back to when people were calling him, you know, a Soraka one-trick or Janna one-trick, and before that, he was Leona. He was Morgana. He's jumped around and he's played pretty much everything, and this guy usually helps teams kind of find the meta in a sense.
Well, we'll see what happens here, because another support ban was the last from Dig as they take away Bud from Ole.
Yeah.
Looks like Cho'Gath is going to be the pick. We saw Flame play this yesterday. Still some flexibility here for Immortals, but I do expect this to be top lane.
Yeah, I feel like now you can pick something like Gnar for someday and have Shrimp jungle the Maokai, and you're going to have a pretty good matchup if it's into the Jarvan or the Cho'Gath. Tank against tank, not as big of a fan of it. Fiora's on the table too if you do want to go really crazy. But I'm trying to figure out what Dignitas is going to do here because, all right, going for the Karma for support. You know, it's something that we haven't seen too much of. We saw it a little bit yesterday with Matt playing it with Wind Speaker's Blessing and going Ancient Coin.
Yep.
Still waiting on that someday pick in the top lane.
I mean, we saw Lulu from Ole yesterday as well, actually, when Immortals played their series. So it does feel like some of these supports are creeping back into the meta, but it seems like your read on Gnar is likely correct.
Yeah, and it's very diverse right now for the support champion pool. There's Karma, there's the Braum, the Thresh, the Tahm Kench, the Janna, Alistar, the Blitzcrank. We're seeing a whole bunch here, even the Bard jump up. But also, there's things like Taric that are kind of creeping back in based on team composition. So people are picking their supports later and later now in the draft. And waiting for them because there's just so many that you can pick.
It's just funny in that I think with so many playmaking supports banned in this game, or at least the key ones in Thresh, Blitzcrank, and Bard, everyone's like, all right, I guess we just go back to defensive supports with Coin because they're really good, as there is going to be the Lulu lock-in for Ole. All
right, looking at the compositions, top lane kind of goes over to Dignitas in terms of priority. Mid lane is that kind of that skill matchup depending on what the Corki takes. If he goes for the cleanse, if he goes for the teleport, even the exhaust, we've seen it be used against Syndra to try and get something back. But at bottom lane, looks like it's Dignitas favored in terms of pressure, but Immortals have a little bit of that scaling with the Lulu to help everybody else out.
Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting to see how this works out. Again, Immortals really just picking things that they feel comfortable with. Dignitas' comment to me aligns a little more with how we've expected the metagame to develop, but I mean, Immortals have been winning more than almost any other team in the LCS, so can't really fault them for playing their style, even if it's not necessarily what everyone considers the metagame.
Yeah, exactly. And you're talking about how they're just playing what is good for them. The most played champion so far for Cody Sun this split is the Jhin. This will be his 10th game on it. And compared to his other KDAs, which are rocking about, 4 to 3, he has a 10.6 KDA on Jhin. He plays very far in the back line, and he is quite good at this champion. So we'll see what he's able to do up against Altec here, because that's my focus, is this bottom lane, these 2-on-2s, and what is going to happen here between these guys, because both of these AD carries have had standout career-defining performances this split.
Certainly been looking good so far, but Immortals are trying to hold on to the #1 spot for as long as possible. Dignitas, though, looking to shake things up towards the top of the standings as they move towards the playoffs. We'll see what the teams can get done here in game #1. And you did mention that bottom line. The thing I instantly notice when I dart my eyes down to that bottom line of the screen is Spell Thieves.
Yep.
We did see this from Ole yesterday. I think you can go back and forth on Coin versus Spell Thieves depending on how you want to play the lane, but it is interesting to hear how good Coin is, and then immediately see Karma and Lulu back in the metagame with Spell Thieves.
Yeah, Karma's an interesting one because it goes back and forth. Wind Speaker's Blessing for Adrian, went for the Spell Thieves, so it's not the Thunderlords, it's not even Ignite, he has the Exhaust for himself. And we'll see what he maxes first, because we see some Karmas do 2 points Q early for lane phase, and then they go for maxing the E. It's shifted back and forth. I actually think it still shifts based on player. And
matchup as well.
It's all preference in matchup, exactly.
Well, we'll have to see exactly how aggressive Dig can get in the bottom lane, although I think happy to farm it out as well. Maybe looking more to the Jhin-based lane to get a bit more aggressive.
And so right now, I feel like you go towards the Jhin-based lane, but for Dignitas, top lane, go for Cho'Gath. I feel like as a jungler, the rule of thumb is if you have any hard CC, point and click, anything like that, you're visiting Cho'Gath very early on. I wouldn't even be surprised if Shrimp went for something like a level 2 gank. It would actually not be that surprising.
Well, definitely have to pay attention to these junglers. Somebody going to help out Shrimp, who's loaded up that brush with saplings already.
Yep, stacked them all as well, There's Maokai mechanics that we go over a lot about keeping them separated, but
nicely
not going to slow them down too much.
IMC's bot lane. Shrimp, I think, just trying to speed through that first buff, so it's level 2 nice and quickly, but it seems like it's going to farm the rest of it out. So no level 2 gank just yet.
Yep, looks like he's just going for the clear here, making sure he doesn't get behind in tempo, and we'll see what happens, because Xmithie looks like he might want to go towards that top side, whereas the Maokai starting on the top side of the map and not the bottom side is a little bit unusual because of the fact that you could get a super leash on blue side. You could have your bottom lane help you out, and then you'd be able to go to the top side where the Cho'Gath is, which I feel is the desired place to be as this Maokai.
Yeah, you can see both junglers now going to converge into the opposite sides of the jungle. Xmithie did start the same 2 camps, but he's on his red buff right now. Shrimp, of course, moving over to Kiss Red, but they'll be on opposite sides as level 2 hit in the bot side for Dignitas. Oh, level 1 hit from Immortals means not a whole lot they can do as far as trading goes. There's some good damage done there for Altec.
Trying to get him with the trap there, the sneaky trap as soon as the auto attack. And yeah, we're seeing the coin from Jhin. This was actually started by Teddy in the LCK. It was the first Jhin that we saw do it. And it's because of the AP ratio on the Q and the bounces and the multiplication on it, as well as Jhin can sometimes run out of mana. And we'll see, he's only got 19 AP, so that looks like he's not running much in terms of his blues and his glyphs and his rune page. This is mostly natural talent and mastery, plus having the ring.
Well,
and he's already burned through both potions too, which is something to keep in mind. The Doran's ring should allow you to have 2 in the lane, and then he's already burned through both.
yeah, it's taken a lot of damage already, but I think should be able to farm pretty well with that grenade. Just again, like you highlighted, kind of the point of that starting item. Shrimp also visiting this side of the map, but lane is pushed too far up for any sort of real gank at the moment. And Smithy also didn't really poke his head into a lane either, so the junglers may have looked for some early ganks here and there. There's plenty of good pressure from these junglers, but right now just going to farm it out. And it's always interesting to track what decisions junglers like this make early.
They actually made exactly the same decisions of farming from their blue wolves to red to invade, to take the enemy Gromp, to come back. And instead of doing Krugs, Xmithie just elected to go do his Raptors first, and now Shrimp has to go do his, but they'll both be level 4 on the bottom side of the map here.
Yeah, 2 excellent ults from Dignitas. Going to spot Xmithie moving down. He's going to stay in the tri-bush and recall, though. Looks like not wasting too much time. Probably knows he's been spotted. He's going to pick up some consumables and walk back towards that jungle. And despite some of the early pressure and Cody having no pots, nice and even on CS. So it looks like that lane's kind of equalizing as well. Kind of checking through the rest of them, though. Probably not quite able to get an advantage just yet. Flame, we'll see how things go, because he did get camped in his series yesterday. And those 2 early deaths did set him back, but by the end of the game, didn't seem to matter too much.
Oh, whoa.
That cannon creep is gone so rogue. That sucks.
No!
Oh, no. All right, well.
How did it get past
I don't know.
It was like, I feel like he auto-attacked Flame, and then just the cannon minion was on a mission.
I mean,
you got to dream big, man. Take down that turret.
True, it is, it's a siege-style minion. Its purpose was revealed there. Somebody a little upset to miss the minion, perhaps, but should be okay just by taking some decent damage there in mini form. I'll take with a nice dodge of the deadly foe. Won't get snared up, but again, it does feel like that early pressure is in Dignitas' side here in the 2v2, despite the farm being nice and even, which is also the case in mid lane. As Keen is trying to keep Pobelter back, but Corki, any lane where he feels like he can go even in farm is a happy lane for Corki.
Exactly, and he has the teleport too, so Pobelter will try to affect those side lanes. Let's see what happens here though. Keen actually close to 6. This wave will actually get him level 6, and I think Pobelter knows that, so he's going to back up here, maybe use his teleport, come back with, I believe, his Phage, and then you'll have at least something to hold on Altec.
Smithy actually tries to get the
nice dodge.
He's going to miss. Altec just steps out of the way as Adrian gets a lot of damage back into Xmithie. Low, but no flash forward. They're already burnt those summoners defensively. So Xmithie's safe, but a very reckless-looking gank almost.
Yeah, that was one where he came around from the side. They got the flash out of Altec, and then Altec played it well to dodge, even while exhausted there, to get out. So no summoner spells for the AD carry of Dignitas, but they traded 2 summoner spells for his own.
Well, you can see Pobelter did, in fact, use that teleport back to lane, but goes for Hex Drinker for really making sure he can't get all ins. Yeah, easily in the mid lane.
Yeah, it makes the most sense. The jungler does magic damage as well, so it's good if you get 2-on-1.
It's one of those things where it kind of costs the same amount as one of your Trinity Force components, and if it's magically built into the Triforce, it will be the best item ever for Corki. Unfortunately, it does delay your build by quite a lot, but...
Make more sense than the Phage, man. It's a hammer,
it's
and
true.
I don't know why. I don't know why it's in there. Everything else is a blade.
But certainly for Pobelter, erring on the side of caution here. Yeah. Keen again, just farming away. Has also gone back for the early lost chapter, so mid lane should kind of settle down. Has Sunday also going to TP back aggressively.
Yeah, that was fast. That was, he got back, he just TPs in immediately. Yeah, buys, wastes no time.
You did say he's good at TP. That does include going back to lane.
Yeah, that feels like one where you're TPing, you already have your shop open, and you have it to the side, you TP, and then you just buy all your items during that cast. Just make sure you have everything lined up. And people are TPing, they're trying to buy that last ward.
King gonna get his blue buff. Walks back to lane there. Shrimp's able to donate that one over. Xmithie, level 6. Farmed a lot more on this J4 than we've seen from him in recent games. I think he's kind of gone from like level 2 ganks to level 3 ganks to no real ganks at all.
Yeah, Pobelter warding, trying to get some control of mid lane after he shoved in.
Kane's like, I know where that ward is.
Yeah, here comes Gnar as
know where you
well.
are.
Someday's actually trying to get on the other side, so Pobelter has to go off to the right.
Good slow, nice Valk though from Pobelter will keep him safe, and Someday is running out of Mega Gnar. So he's just gonna back up towards the top lane. Flame hasn't TP'd just yet, so Blackhill looking for some very specific breakpoint here on the Cho'Gath, and there's that Glacial Shroud and the Bracer plus some boots, so he's gonna TP back as well and feel pretty safe in this 1v1.
Yeah, it's really funny because all the tanks in top lane used to just go for Sunfire Cape. Then the build path got changed, and all these other tank items are just really appealing. So Righteous Glory first item will come through for the Cho'Gath, which helps him get onto people. But then also Cho'Gath has 4 slows in his kit. The Q, the 3 hits of the E, and then he also has the silence from the W. So there's just so much once you get on somebody to stop them from getting away.
Yeah, I think we talk so much about Cho'Gath having great follow-up CC, but not really any setup CC at all apart from his kill shot. So turns out running at people is actually a pretty effective way to start a fight.
Yeah. So he's got 4 slows. Why not throw in a 5th with a Righteous Glory slow afterwards? That would definitely help him out, and that's what they're looking for.
Have to track shockwave takedowns.
Yeah,
Something we
I don't know
noticed
why that's a
yesterday.
thing, to be honest. The shockwave takedown.
Sitting on the item.
Yeah, you mouse over the Righteous Glory, it'll tell you in Spectator how many shockwave takedowns there are. It's like,
Which was still not sure what it is.
It doesn't do damage. I feel like if the person's slowed and then they die, it's like, yeah, you slowed them and you helped. So it's like kind of indicating you helped kill somebody by having the Righteous Glory. So
Kind of wish there was like a tackle mechanic on it.
Yeah.
Where you speed up fast sniper, just kind of slam him into a wall like coffee.
it is a helmet that has horns on it. Or, give it horns and have it be Bull Rush, right? Like, there you go.
There we go. That's that real immersion we're looking for here with our tank itemization. It's not just enough that it's a good item on it. So there's Flame getting pushed in for the meantime. Like, just Glory or not, he's going to struggle in this 1v1 for, I think, a little while, but just playing it safe and respecting the power that Gnar has, especially in mini.
Bottom lane. Looks like Xmithy's setting up. Adrian's going to go for the ward. He's going to get caught.
Good flash from Adrian, but the ulti's going to follow. Knock from Lulu is going to follow in. Adrian's still trapped in the Cataclysm. Looking to go down here. The ulti up from Cody, and first blood off to Lulu. Outtake going to get poked out. Last shot is not enough. Outtake's heal able to save him.
Yeah, but he has to burn the heal. Maokai coming in from the back, but this is not going to be enough. There's 3 full HP members here. They might be able to turn on to Shrimp.
Yeah, Shrimp caught, ulti's out, but that's really late. The root's already followed from Cody, and he's popped the W. Exhaust and burnt by Ole, but hit by ultimate. The package Shrimp already flashed away, so that's an easy kill for the Corki.
And that's the gank from Xmithy, setting all of that up. When the lane had been returned to a neutral state, Adrian went too far forward saying, all right, this is where they would come in if they wanted to gank now because they're playing like one's coming, and it was already there, so he was late for that ward and that placement. Because you can see how far back Altek's playing, kind of thinking maybe something will come through, but Xmithy lines up the flag and drag, and that burns the flash, meaning Adrian is just a sitting duck at that point. And then the swap over here to Altek, and having to burn that summoner spell is big, because that's going to give a large advantage to the bottom side. And then Shrimp, he was doing the Scuttle Crab during that time, and kind of could have been in a position to actually do something about that gank if his sense of what was going to happen at the bottom side had been communicated. Because it looked like Altek was thinking something's going to happen here, but it just looked like the rest of the team was not on that same page. And Immortals make the jump, and they get rewarded for it.
The Drake out of the deal as well, so even better after getting first and second blood, converting into a nice 1,000 gold lead. And for me, we talk so much about Xmithy being a very intelligent player with the way he looks at the map and kind of thinks about different situations. The thing that I have been most impressed with recently is how he engineers ganks. So many times it feels like he's kind of in the right spot for either a counter gank or set up a gank, and then lo and behold, it works. That is not an accident that he's setting these situations up, and for me, the way he kind of forces his will upon you and actually ganks his opponents and sets up for his laners has been very impressive.
Yeah, and now he's going to do the Rift Herald and kind of maximize his time here. And like you were saying, I personally was never really an enormous Xmithy fan of any kind, because I always kind of appreciated the more heavy gank-centric junglers instead of the ones that controlled the enemy jungle. Like people like Dardoch and like Cadian, who would be aggressive and have those very early action points to get their team snowballing. But the style that Xmithy has adopted when he came over to Immortals, being very focused on his lanes and not just warding for them, but being aggressive, has really kind of warmed me up to the idea of Xmithy being a top jungler in the league, because he's getting to play the style he wants. Back on CLG, I know that it was mostly like Afromu and him going back and forth on how they play the game, but now he has the freedom to kind of do what he wants alongside Eugene, who he has won an NALCS championship with.
Certainly looking good here. Picks up the Rift Herald. We'll see exactly where Immortals want to take that next potential advantage. Still cranking up in gold. As Pobelta also going to go for another dip down to this bot lane. Smithy will join him, so I think I know where that Rift Herald's going.
Yep, it's going right to this bottom lane that was supposed to be a power point for Dignitas, right? Altec and Adrian have both been playing incredibly well and smashing lanes, but this lane ended up getting ganked twice early on, and Xvidi's going to use this, take down the backdoor bonus. They just cleared the minion wave, I believe. And yeah, this will be that turret. They're going to have to abandon it here. It's going to take it down.
Yep. Headbutt's enough to take it. And looks like Immortals already setting something else up towards the mid lane. In fact, Trip may have been caught here. Keen is defending against Pobelta, who just got slowed by a sapling. Things look alright though, as the rest of Immortals are charging towards that mid lane. So Keen does have his sums up, but will have to be a bit more careful.
And this is just so impressive from Immortals in terms of just the lanes. Like, you think about in solo queue here, you have a bad matchup in top lane. It's just like, all right, there's this tax, I'm going to be down 10 to 20 CS. Flame is at the 10 CS per minute mark on this Cho'Gath, who's in the matchup that you're supposed to lose early because of the pressure that Gnar puts on you. He's making use of the passive. He's gotten to the point where the Cho'Gath passive after every CS will give him a lot of HP. So he really has just been able to hang out in this lane and have a good time. And that's so impressive, is not just how people win lanes, but how they play the losing matchups as well.
And he's still sticking in the bot lane for a little while longer, just trying to get that shove back towards the tier 2. Grenade should clean all of those up there for Cody. And he does have quite a lot of gold to spend as well, so that first major item should be completed in short order. I imagine it's Dustblade first, but maybe Ghostblade an option as well. There's the Ghostblade.
Ghostblade for the out-of-combat mobility and the swiftness boots, and they're going to go top lane here. So making sure that they can go rush that and put the Cho'Gath in a different matchup and try to get tempo advantage here. We'll see what the answer is. And you can tell what the answer is based on what Dignitas is doing. They're putting you saw Adrian and Altec actually walk down mid, and then as soon as they saw that Cody-san was top, they're going to the top side of the map now. And it looks like they might try a 4-man counter here. Maokai in the top lane could throw out the ultimate and maybe catch Cody-san here. He does have flash. We'll see.
Somebody's got no rage here. Cody does overextend. Flame can join, and Xmithy's in the area as well. 1v3
It's the push
right
setup.
now.
Trying to get back in.
Oh, Adrian's actually been caught already. Xmithy, Thunderlord's proc. There's a wild growth committed as Cody is finally getting chased down. Adrian will flash to safety, but Cody getting chased by Someday, escapes through the tri-bush. Now Someday may be caught as Flame. He's going to commit his TP up. Xmithy looking for a real big angle on the play. Someday flashes up, but no, he's going to find two. The Maokai ulti is trying to zone the rest of the team out as Keen roaming in as Someday does finally take Xmithy. Flame taking up a lot in the front lines as Cody lets rip for the ulti, but Flame, he's going to go down feasting on Keen, who barely goes down at all.
Yeah, and that's 2 for 0 here. Adrian gets out after using the Mantra W, getting HP back, and so he wasn't killed by Xmithy there, and they're able to take out the 2 big tanks, which allows them to get this turret and even that up. We're back towards even in terms of gold.
Great read on the play there for Dignitas, and a very good answer as the team fight will start. Cody, ooh.
This actually puts Dig in a really good position because they have TP advantage, which you almost will never have up against double TP. So now you'll play Someday on the bottom side of the map to pick up the CS, but I feel like you'll want to rotate him very quickly to a different lane to get control of Dragon and maybe look for another fight based off the Maokai ulti. Because right here, Adrian is actually pulling a lot of threat. Smithy's going to go over. Adrian holds his flash because what happened last time with the Cataclysm, he uses the Mantra W, gets 190 HP back, and then 233, heals himself for over 400 there, and then blows the flash. And right here, Someday is just pulling everybody in, and there's the Maokai ultimate. It was held for so long, and then Pobelta goes after Keen, but then Keen is able to just ulti, put him off to the side, and then they get to focus down the targets in the middle.
Someday respecting the face there at the end. The Flame with no counter kill. As Immortals do lose 2.
Yeah, that's gonna kind of be the hard part about the Immortals composition is peeling this Maokai away once he's in. The ultimate, you kind of have Flame or Xmithy stand in front, and there's Someday actually TPing to the top after getting the dragon. So that's the rotation they're gonna make, and they're gonna Flame's just gonna walk away.
Yeah, it's actually behind Flame. Somebody with red buff do a lot of damage to Flame, but Flame's got to find an escape route here.
Yeah, looking for a fight. This is risky because they don't have full knowledge of where Immortals is.
Someday instead going to play it safe, take down the control ward as Immortals were in fact reinforcing.
Yeah, I feel like that was actually a slight misplay from Someday, because if you farm that CS under turret, you're just going to grab 150 free gold, right? And what are you going to get after you kill the Cho'Gath, if you get to kill the Cho'Gath. There's no objectives up, so I feel like that was a bit of an overchase when you could just let him go, and you didn't really have inside track on it. So Dignitas just showing kind of the aggressive mindset of the entire team to try and collapse and get something back here.
Macro continues here. IMT looking to threaten this mid-outer turret. Keen, decent amount of wave clear, but has to be careful. Gets rooted and poked down to 40% HP, but Shrimp is so threatening on this Maokai. Level 2 ulti not even ready. Yep, he's already standing off to the side again. If Pobelter walks too far forward, very easy for Maokai to lock up even Corki.
Yeah. Checking back in on Adrian really quickly. He has 3 points Q, 4 points into his shield. So no maxed ability at level 9 just yet, and they're just going for the siege. And that bottom lane, it's actually a CS advantage for Cody-san after the 15-minute mark. So Altec and Adrian were not able to get the better of that lane when it's a lane that, you know, you have Caitlyn, which is supposed to win most lanes, and you have the pressure of the Karma, but they played it so well. And there's the flash out of Shrimp.
Shrimp's out of there. Again, that same combo from Ola Enix Smithy. That flag drag Cataclysm into Wild Growth, trying to pick off a target.
Well, he hasn't used Cataclysm just yet, which means if you do use it on Shrimp, then he's going to have to find a W to get out.
Well, did burn his flash, so maybe the next time they catch him in the jungle.
And that's why I think they like this so much, because Jarvan pretty much guarantees flashes post-level 6 as a jungler, and then you can just rinse and repeat and do it over again.
Got good follow-ups you see as well. Cody can help out with his W. Flame, if he's in the area, has a ton of CC to add to any exchange. And Immortals have played kind of very pick-centric in a lot of their team comps here. They love using that early to mid-game to really pressure and snowball through this section of the game. And then closing it out with some really strong map calls. I mean, Pobelter, we've barely talked about him at all in this game. He's got a healthy, almost 30 CS lead. His Trinity Force has been completed a number of minutes ago, despite having to slow his build down with a Hex Drinker. And we've seen what his Corki can do in a mid to late game team fight. He will take over a game if they're forced to play a 5v5, even with a tank like Shrimp on the map.
Oh yeah, we talked about it. This is going to be Pobelter's 6th Corki game. 100% win rate so far this split, and a 14.6 KDA. It's just getting higher so far this game.
Well, IMT still up 1,000 gold as we approach the 20-minute mark. Still a lot of maps to play for here. Immortals with the one turret lead, with 2 turrets to 1, maybe looking to threaten this top section of the map. Pobelter does have his package, so kind of look to move himself quickly around the map in any sort of play. Flame TP back up as well, and Pobelter does also have his, in case he needs to make a cross-map play. Cody with the rapid fire cannon now completed. He should be going for kind of a more standard crit-based gym build rather than the lethality builds we have seen, which I think with the likes of Sunday and Shrimp in the game does make sense.
Yeah, the rapid fire cannon is just so Jhin with the 550 auto attack range. At least has auto attacks to contribute to a fight. Otherwise, it's kind of frustrating, and you're in range to just get twisted advanced. And if all you're contributing as a Jhin to a team fight is the ultimate and a W, you're not always winning those team fights. Getting those autos off is incredibly important.
Yeah, package ran out for Pobelter, so he uses it to quickly dip top lane. Looks like Digger answering, no, Altec's going to hang out for a little while longer.
Yeah, something I want to pay attention to here is the post-20-minute CS and what changes, because Someday has slowly gotten himself a CS advantage over Flame, and now Altec is just almost caught up to Cody-san, but it's that mid advantage that I feel like is going to stay about the same here, where Pobelter may actually start getting more based on how he picks up farm in the side lanes.
Well, nice rotation from Immortals. Are going to claim them that final outer turret as top lane does fall. Dignitas playing pretty safe there as Someday going to keep chasing down Flame. Flame got a charge to go back to. Nice knock up into the blast cone. Gets him back to the safety of that turret. Immortals again still rushing back. Saw this a lot with Lulu Jarvan yesterday, I believe. It's not just that, you know, they can initiate fights so freely, which is something that Smithy does love to do, but even just the raw move speed from Whimsy. I'm watching Immortals move between these relatively short distances in the river and just get to lane so quickly.
Yeah, giving them 33% movement speed right now, but it's a pretty decent duration on the Whimsy of the 3.25 seconds. He's maxing at second. And so Ole, I mean, we talked about him being a playmaker, and he played the Lulu yesterday. And this is kind of the full defense show that you can actually play a versatile style type of pick for him.
We've got Mobies and Swifties in the bot lane as well, so IMT real fast around the map. Maybe a cloud break. Oh, it is the next one. 40 seconds till that one. Might be able to add that to the out-of-combat moves.
Plus out-of-combat move speed from the Ghost Blade. Remember that lethality item, Serrated Dirk, got changed to not have it. It used to be just 20 on different items. Now it's just 40 on Ghost Blade itself to kind of give it that identity of the movement speed positioning item before and during team fights.
IMC with the setup again. Flame back down to that bottom side. Stone Plate now finished, so Cho'Gath, big helpful to play with in any sort of team fight. Really doesn't have any resistances apart from the Merc Tread and the things that Stone Plate give him, but a lot of health for Flame if Immortals want to start this next mid-game team fight.
Yeah, and the fact that he can go for this is important because Cho'Gath, when you're buying something that just has pure resistances on it, like the Stone Plate, and not so much HP on it, you get that natural HP from having stacks of Feast. So he can go for this, and then we'll see what his true damage looks like in the team fight as he's continuing to push the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, this is kind of what we saw yesterday from Flame's Cho'Gath. It was one of those picks where, especially when he fell behind early, we were kind of wondering what's going on. But Flame, I mean, he's someone that's always loved a lot of time in a side lane, but he just doesn't leave with Cho'Gath.
Yeah, he just constantly farms, and I feel like he doesn't have too much to actually fear. There's no Frozen Mallet being completed anytime in the near future for Someday. I feel like Someday has abandoned the idea or the thought of being a split pusher here against the Cho'Gath. It hasn't worked for him, even though he's like wailed on him all lane phase long and just has about a 25-ish CS advantage. No, he's going for a more team fight oriented build here.
And I think Dig needs to pull the trigger on that team fight actually pretty soon. Immortals are really taking over the map. They've got a 2-turret lead. They just took the second Drake as Pobelta soloed the Cloud.
Yeah, I feel like what Dignitas is looking for is Altec getting level 13 so he has maxed traps so that they can set up sieges and kind of barriers for trying to get into objectives. And they're waiting for 2-item spike for him. And the last thing I would say is for the Syndra to maybe find kill pressure or a pick and get another penetration item because he has gone for the Banshee's Veil second after the Morello instead of something like the Leandri. So he's favoring not getting caught and going for a more defensive build in a neutral state of the game where things are only about 2,000 gold difference.
Yeah, and the rest of IMC are ramping up as well. Pobelta with his second fully completed item, that rapid fire cannon now ready. So Corki really only going to get stronger as the items come in. Jhin is the same, but I mean, Corki's scaling is pretty outrageous. Barks out of the way. Nice stun from Keen to start it off, but not enough burst damage.
Yep, and now bottom lane, Someday is going to keep pushing, trying to maybe get this turret in the near future, but sometimes you just want to be able to swap between Mini-Gnar and Mega-Gnar, and look at that, the wave clear from Cho'Gath, and the fact that he could just walk up and get HP back from last hitting those minions means he has no fear even if he gets attacked by Someday.
Yeah, it feels like even if Someday
they're getting flanked.
Could kill Cho, it might just take too long as Smithy will get caught there.
Yeah, that was actually a really good ulti there from Adrian to use the shield and speed the team back up, because as soon as you identified that they're going for a flank, sometimes it's too late, was able to spot them in time.
Smithy even putting down a control ward just to make sure he wasn't spotted.
Karma went for Ninja Tatis. It's not something that you almost ever see from supports. That's actually kind of awkward.
Oh no. Nope, never mind. Oh, never mind. Here we go. The TP in from Pobelta. I was wondering why Flame was getting so aggressive. Pobelta, though, is actually going to move back in. And now Someday feasted on Pobelta. Able to kill Someday.
Yeah, looks like Flame wanted to pop the Stone Plate and get another stack, but Pobelta gets the kill there, and they were able to get that TP and keep him there. Like I was saying, there's so many slows from Cho'Gath that Someday couldn't really get away there at all, didn't blow his flash either, and he's not built for split push.
Yep.
He's built the Randuin's Omen as his second item, so he's just trying to make sure that he can team fight at some point.
I mean, Pobelta's like, if I'm coming all the way down here with my TP, this is my kill, Flame. As he picks up the package and speeds back toward Baron. Don't forget, Flame has TP and is still pressuring this turret, though, is now going to base and spend some gold. So Dig, they tried to make the counterplay back on the Baron, but Immortals reading that one pretty simply, and
they're
going to start it.
They're on it, yeah. Smithy taking some damage here. Flame TP'd in, and there's going to be the Maokai ultimate, the Nature's Grasp.
Only Pobelta caught in that one.
Yeah, for 2.4 seconds.
Just going to think about some of his choices this game. Contemplate.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe what's for lunch.
Yeah, contemplating his choices this game. Corki, good pick for him.
He's like, I like this. Looking forward to lunch. I think it's going to be really good.
Cody's actually top lane trying to reverse the pressure on that lane. So Dignitas get inside track on mid, but now they're going to have to go back to top and try to get something there, whereas Someday is pushing bottom. So this is actually we'll see what happens. Cody Sun opens up with Aldi.
Oh, that was a great flash from Adrian, but such a good setup from IMT. Flame caught him with the Rupture. Root not quite able to land though from Cody. And Immortals invested so much into that Baron play, it feels like.
But now they're going to have to invest something else and try to start it up here to try and get the TP out from Someday, because they can't answer him. Nobody has TP to get it.
Flame has Feast now though, so IMT actually have a real threat onto this Baron. Sunday's TPing, but it's pretty far away from the pit, and IMT might just be able to take it.
It's going to go down in a second here.
IMT should be able to get it. There's the Feast, and that's over. Now Someday looking to try and find the flank, but he's got no range. Flashes up from under Shrimp. Cody over the water, try and save his Immortals. Smithy jumps back in, and Shrimp flashes out from
Someday
under.
almost
Still going down, but a great pull. He's maybe going to save him a little bit longer.
Oh, he doesn't reach him!
Low from the ulti, but that Swan caught its Flame back into the rest of Dignitas. Cody firing shots, but Flame is living for so long. Someday finally takes him down, and it's just to kill his Immortals. Do claim the Baron.
And that was really close for Someday getting something back. Olay's Polymorph stopped the transformation, stopped him from actually picking up multiple kills there, and that was the big difference in that fight. Immortals get out, get the teleport, and they're able to only lose one person, so that is a very worth Baron call from them.
Well, they'll take it. I'll keep riding that 2,000 gold lead forward in this game. Is again, Dignitas just not fast enough with Cho'Gath Feast on the
Every time I watch these, and like I've done breakdowns where Olay is just soaking so many abilities, Shrimp W's Olay, and he pulls the tank line so far back. Mortals are retreating now. They're trying to get out, and Pobelter is trying to get somebody to go after him here and put threat on. And then right there, that Polymorph on the top side, Someday couldn't transform, couldn't get his W off in time, couldn't use his ultimate fast enough, and that was Olay making the difference in that fight.
Same for Pobelter, because that looked like an incoming triple kill.
Yeah.
Just couldn't quite find the angle on the team fight, not safely at least.
Yeah, didn't really want to like blow flash or get out of the pit unless he had to. And that's what you want to do as the Corki. Pobelter played that well, where you don't use the Valkyrie preemptively, use it reactively. Because if you pull somebody into the pit to try and hit you, and then you Valk out, they have a longer path to get to the real team fight that's happening.
Well, we'll see just how much damage Immortals can do with this Baron. Going to hold it for 2 minutes and 20 more seconds. Stone plates finished everywhere. Smithies and Flames lining up quite nicely, and Pobelter with some alone time is going to do a ton of damage to structure, so IMT should be well set up to really break down a lot of structures.
And you see Keen's actually caught up in CS, and it's been that bottom lane, Altec versus Cody Sun, where the CS advantage has actually grown for Cody. So Immortals actually changing up where their CS advantage was via their lane allocation.
Pobelter's like, yeah, Someday, you're not that tanky in mini form.
Nope.
Despite having 2 tank items and an extra chain vest, plus the health from a Black Cleaver, as the ace in the hole will poke him down a little further. Flame, of course, the only one without Baron. He did die, but he's still going to get the shove going in the top lane.
Yeah, 1,120 health from his stacks. He's only got 7, 1 from the Baron and 6 from monsters. But this Cho'Gath is just so difficult to remove from the map. It's very, like, this is why this champion is being played so much. The Bramble Vest pickup for him, we're seeing him only have, you know, pretty much a few HP items, but a lot of his health is from just those feast stacks. And then he just buys resistances. Being 0, 2, and 1, but he's very threatening.
Looks like he wants another one, because there's a Drake up. He's already started.
Save it for me.
I was wondering when it's
Give me the stack. Don't do it, Cody. Yeah.
There we go. Double Ocean now for IMT. They do already take the tier 2 tower in bot as well. So, again, continuing to stack those objective advantages. Probably still want a little bit more. Only 45 seconds left on Baron, but Flame now going to just saunter down to that bot lane. IMT will happily play this one nice and slow.
Yeah, whereas Dignitas, you know, their kills or their assists are kind of in the right place right now. But you really wish that Syndra had a little bit more in terms of the kills or Altec at the same time, because he's had to kind of augment his build a bit here. He's got 2 items, so he's definitely behind right now in CS. And then he went for the last Whisper because he needs to penetrate a lot of that armor that's being built up by the people who are going to be in that front line.
Some of it does feel like what Dig waiting for. We're probably waiting for Baron to wear off first. Maybe a pick on a Pobelter. Does take damage there from Olay, but Double Ocean should kick back in short order. Might stop the season topside for Immortals though. And that's Baron pretty much dropped off, so not a whole lot left to do here for IMT. Only 1 turret and a Drake. Not the biggest advantage they built there.
Yeah.
Not awful, they're still up like 3,000 gold.
Yeah. And still, we're talking about like this neutral game where there's 2,000 to 3,000 gold difference between the two teams, so it comes down to team fighting and how you're trying to get whatever advantage you can. But we're getting close to the point where people are going to get maxed out very quickly and start having 6-item spikes. We're seeing Altec complete his third, 2 more to go.
I mean, Pobelta and Cody are both sitting at 3 strong items with the last whisper there for Ole. And Flame just finished a Warmogs and he has a Bramble Vest. So
yeah.
if I was like, I hate my life all of a sudden because there are 2 Bramble Vests on the enemy team and a Cho'Gath that can one-shot me if he activates Stoneplate.
Yeah, he's got 4,555 HP. And right now, before using Stoneplate, he does a little over 900 true damage. And Altec has 1,600 HP. So I actually think Flame, I'm not going to do the math on stream because you always tell me not to. Flame would be able to Gargoyle Stoneplate in a team fight and go for that. And that's why the Warmogs is there. The Warmogs is there for the fact that you can multiply your HP. It all counts as bonus HP from the Stoneplate, and then you ulti, and you're able to one-shot somebody. So, but also, one of the things about Warmogs I love is, hold on,
Block from Cody, Shrimp really far out, but the root is maybe enough. Actually walks through the Brambles. And now Smithy in the mix. TP in from Flame. He's looking very hungry. Maybe going to try and take down Altec. He just eats Shrimp. The tank line melts there for Dig. And it's a 5v4. Smithy, though, still taking damage as Someday trying to transform ASAP. Gets knocked up by the Rupture as Altec rooted there by Jin W. Altec goes still big. He's going to go in. There's the dog. Moves Cody back and slays him as Ole's going to fall as well. Dig may have just turned this fight around as Pobelta has to flash a stun. Does do so. Walk. He's going to miss that from Sunday as Pobelta. Valkyrie's out of the way. He needs to try and save his life because that'll save the fight. Smithy back into the mix. His Flame is regen so much. He's going to catch in onto Keen. Not enough damage. Altec attacked up. Pobelta. Smithy going to go down as well. And Flame forced to flash away. Dig still chasing.
Oh, Someday can tank this.
That's enough. There's the ace. Dignitas turn it around.
They're going to keep pushing. These are 40-second death timers. Cody's Sun comes up in 20. They're going to get an inhibitor here.
And I asked, what are they doing? The answer was waiting. Dignitas find the ace. And even the game back up. In fact, if this game keeps going, they might just end it.
The question is, do they keep pushing? 10 seconds on Cody's Sun, and then there's 20 before the next person. They want to reset because Baron in 15 seconds.
All right, going to play it safe here. Death time is not quite long enough. Almost 35 minutes into the game. Ole needs to cancel a whack, but cannot find anyone recalling.
Yeah, this is run to the Baron, get some wards on it, make sure that they aren't rushing it here. And this is just an incredibly well-played team fight from both sides, but Dignitas out-execute them. Shrimp here goes after Cody's Sun, but it's the running in the 90s Jin. He's going to get right out, speed away, and then try to turn this around. But right here, Smithy goes in, and then Flame also came through, and he CC'd, takes over half his HP in damage, and then they swap to Smithy, who's close. Ole actually draws some aggro, and then Someday gets 3 hits, and then transforms, and that was the difference maker. But right now, Baron going down. Where's the smite? Smithy's almost there.
Flame, that's my question. He's not going to be
there. They need to kill it before it goes.
Smithy, no! Not going to get a Shrimp able to smite that away. Someday gets knocked up there as the wild growth comes down to Smithy. He lives for a very long time, but not long enough. Altec on a killing spree as Dignitas claim Baron.
Altec was having a game where he's getting pushed around. He's 50 CS down, but he was able to complete the last Whisper item, do a lot of damage to both Smithy and Flame, and he's been able to turn this around. Still deathless, only missed out on 1 kill, just like his mid laner. Speaking of 100% KP though, that top lane and that support, Adrian and Someday, this team, when they're in those team fights, they are looking better and better. That was a Dig Baron that definitely went their way, and Shrimp didn't even smite. It was Smithy who smote, and then they were also able to just get it with a Q or something like that from Shrimp. Very close.
Oh no. Well, fumbles or not, very impressive stuff from Dignitas. And I'm going to see why Someday went Black Cleaver full tank instead of for that split push build. Everything that Dig have got done in this game has been as a team.
Yeah, and Someday's Black Cleaver and the team fight that he's gone for, he's saying, we're not really going to win this split push. I can't push Cho'Gath out. He's going for the Black Cleaver, which is going to help Altec a lot in these fights. And as it progresses, it's going to mean even more as people get those maxed out items. So he's helping shred all of that armor so that Altec can have a carry performance.
All right, well, here's the next push. Dignitas down to that bottom lane. Pobelta, bit of a chunk there, but eats the ace in the hole from Altec.
Yeah, also double Knight's Vow for Dignitas, whereas Immortals just have that one, and it's on Pobelter.
The bullet hell right now for IMC is Baron empowered auto attacks coming out from minions. Got spears flying everywhere from Syndra, saplings being thrown over. IMC just pushed straight back to their turrets here.
Yep, there's
going to ult
brass
try and save
zone.
this.
I feel like that's actually something where now they'll have to just kind of camp these two cannon minions, get whatever damage they can. And I like this trap line from Altec. Normally you see the trap line go all the way around, but he's just making sure he has 2 traps to put on the left, because that's where Immortals are threatening from.
And Someday even going to move over and try and zone the tanks further out from the flank. Someday actually gets knocked up here.
I don't know what he's doing over there.
Gonna take a while to kill him, but Dig just moved forward. I mean, IMT just can't afford the 2v1 Someday.
Turret damage now back up. Altec got hit by 1.
Someday's got Warmog as well, so we'll regen out of combat, but IMT maybe trying to fight Someday. Perhaps caught here, but he jukes that Deadly Flourish. Now almost Mega now as the inhibitor is exposed here in the bot side. Flame stunned by Keen, but Dig just moving and trying to take this inhibitor.
Yeah. Making sure that they have a trap line still. Altec is using that range advantage to push. But you can see the tanks can't find a way in. This Caitlyn is just zoning them. Now they'll walk up again with these minions, try to get some damage on it.
They have to be cautious here. Oh, Altec. 8-1 order from Pobelka and almost died after that Q. Smithy gonna dive back in. IMT gonna try and go for the T5 before their in-him goes down, but I don't think it's got enough damage. Stone Plate's activated, but it's not enough. Keen takes down Flame. Altec takes down Smithy. Dignitas kill the frontline and take the in-him.
And now they have so many options, but I feel like it's try and make the game end here.
Gonna go for it now. Driving into the backside. Pobelka has to be careful. Root onto Shrimp, and Someday taking fire, about to transform into Maganar. Nexus Turret 1 has fallen. Pobelka dives in with the packet, but he goes down. Altec coming up so huge in the back end of this game. The Nexus is exposed, and Dignitas make the comeback and win game number 1.
A better neutral game for them in the 2,000 to 3,000 gold range. And Dignitas make the better play and play the team fight just slightly better than Immortals, and that's what makes the difference there and gets them the Baron and ultimately the game.
Just so much trust in themselves as a team to find the winning 5v5. I mean, Immortals, despite being kind of early to mid-game centric, having strong macro, being really good, and in this game playing a pick-style composition, they are not shabby team fighters either. It's one of the reasons they're the top NALCS team, but Dignitas just coming up a little bit better there.
Yeah, and this game was incredibly close, 38 minutes long. This is the fastest of so far of the split for these two teams, or sorry, the slowest for these two teams, because before, it was just a bloodbath last time. It was 33-minute game, 27-minute game, 23-minute game between these two teams. So this one is showing that this Dignitas, with this bottom lane of Altec and Adrian, you have scaling from just a kind of personnel standpoint, where Altec is going to reach that late game point where he's right now the 2nd damage per minute AD carry, and he's going to be able to deliver in these fights. His positioning is great, and then he's able to come up big and allow them to just... And that's the thing, right? AD carries who position well and don't get caught in team fights, they're always going to put out that damage, and then they're going to be able to help take over the game. And that's what I think he brings to this team, and that's what's making the difference here later in the game.
Well, certainly lots to break down, but to get their thoughts on that Dig win, let's send it over to Dash and Mark.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. Dignitas coming out on top here. I mean, I just have to say, I'm excited for the rest of this series, and I'm really hoping it goes to 3. Although this wasn't the most kill-heavy game, crazy action-packed, I think there are a lot of really key moments that we'll take a look at that showcases the high level that some of these players are playing at.
It's definitely one of those games where when someone makes a mistake, the other team is able to punish very, very heavily and really make you second-guess those small mistakes that you make, a mispositioning, going too far in, those small over-engages that sometimes aren't that bad, really got hit hard this game.
Absolutely. So before we get into the play itself, let's pull up Champion Select just to see what the teams are working with here. The most notable thing to me is these bot lane supports. Of course, Adrian rejoins the league, and the support meta goes out the window.
Hey, we want to play some Karma?
We got some Karma back in here, right across from Lulu.
So initially, when we see Lulu for Ole, I think we were talking about it yesterday a little bit, saying it's not really something we like seeing that much.
No.
Here, though, he actually had a great performance on it. I still don't really like Lulu Jhin. I just don't think it has that much synergy in lane. They did gank it decently well with the help of Smithy, and they did kind of hold down Dignitas' bot lane, which is one of the resurgent things for them and one of the reasons they're doing better since the substitutions. The bot lane's winning on its own. Did not dominate with Caitlyn Karma quite as hard as you would have liked, but as the game went later and later, you kind of continued to see why Caitlyn is such a strong pick.
Other thing to note, of course, is the fact that the Caitlyn and the Maokai somehow ended up on the same side of Champion Select. So that was one piece of criticism we wanted to throw at Immortals. Totally fine, and I actually appreciate the fact that they opted to not ban either, right? The expectation then is just pick whichever one didn't get first picked over here, in this case the Maokai, in here for either a Smithy or Flame. That would have been beautiful.
Yeah, that's what you would have expected, just because, yeah, you ban out some more targeted Dignitas champions. Nunu and Cassiopeia in the first
Huge
rotation.
picks for
Not things you're used to seeing, right? But for Dignitas in particular, they use those so well around those neutral objectives.
Right.
So you can understand targeting them, but it didn't feel like they quite punished as hard as they could have because they, like you said, get that Maokai pick away. And you saw in the late game how good that was for Dignitas.
Very much so. So now let's start rolling through some of the key moments of the game. First up, 16 minutes in, Dignitas in the top lane, 2-0.
This is one of those examples where we're talking about small mistakes being punished very heavily. That starts out all right for Immortals. They realize they kind of need to backtrack, and they do that. And it feels like they're collapsing pretty well onto Dignitas' front line here. Someday starting to get chunked out. The teleport's coming in from Pobelter, but then he goes way too far forward with that package, kind of leaves his front line now to get collapsed on, and he's doing nothing in the backside of the fight. He could have been up with Cody's son right now, pelting away at multiple members with his rockets and waiting to use that package aggressively, but because of that miscoordination, it ends up with his front line being the one getting focused down.
Very much so. Let's push forward to 28 minutes into the game. This one around the Baron, showcasing why Ole is one of the, or is the best support in the North American Open.
This is so amazing by him, just because what he does initially isn't that crazy. Flash away from Maokai, don't want to get CC'd, ult yourself to keep yourself alive, but where he shows unbelievable patience is how long he holds his W here. And some days in the middle of the team, building his Gnar, and he polymorphs as soon as he gets full Gnar bar. Not before, not after, and it looked like Someday was about to monster this fight.
That would have been a
team.
3-man ult.
Yeah, he would have won this fight for his team, punished this Baron attempt heavily. Instead, because Ole played that so intelligently, he actually only limits his team to a single death, and they get out with that Baron, and they use that to build a little bit of a lead from a position where it looked like they might have just thrown the game.
Yeah, absolutely stellar play out of him. I would have been freaking out. I would have hit
Everyone.
Exactly.
I think most people, pros, just mash all the buttons, do everything they can to live.
You see a Gnar jump in on you like that, you just, okay, let me stop the damage. But he says, I'll eat the damage through the exhaust and the ult, and I'm going to use my polymorph when it will be most effective for the rest of my team. Playing the utility there on Lulu, perfection. But of course, Immortals didn't win the game.
Nope, and that's probably where you get into a little bit of the pick problem here. 33 minutes in, Someday is going to really just monster this fight again. This time, he is not going to get shut down by Ole. Shrimp starts off, over-initiates a little bit, and this is one of the powers of that Cho'Gath pick, is that he can kind of just obliterate enemy front lines. Shrimp gets down to around a third of his health, a quarter of his health gets taken out with the Devour there, or the Feast, excuse me, and then after that, the problem is they never get onto Altec or Keen. So even though they got through the front line, they never get that opportunity. Someday's still around, building that Gnar bar, and he finds the right time to go off of another stun.
And this is kind of where that Karma pick starts to be very viable again, because you see these lengthy fights where you have to not only chase people down, and she's great at that, when you've got multiple mantra shields coming in for the team in these elongated fights, essentially the effective health that you're providing for everyone is pretty massive.
As well as the speed ups that come with that, being able to get your front line in better or kite out the enemy front line multiple times, being able to help that. And this was a super, super close fight. And you see just how important it was that they never actually got that opportunity to shut down that engage from Someday.
Right.
Killing Cody's son early in the fight was just a huge factor in why they were able to win that fight. They grabbed the inhibitor, they were able to grab a Baron after, and you see just instantly that gold graph shoot up in their favor.
Again, great out of Dignitas. That wasn't the final fight, but it was the one that put the nail in the coffin, essentially. Someday, gonna grab player of the game. Honestly, no, this dude is just a monster. I'm constantly impressed with his play. We didn't pull this replay, but in the final dance around that bottom inhib turret, he dodges probably like 6 or 7 different spells, right?
Yeah.
At the same time. It's like the craziest fancy footwork I've ever seen.
It's while two people are kind of pushing him out of that position, it's one of those high-level things where you're like, what is he doing off on the side? But he's trying to deny the flank to come in from the Jarvan or the Cho'Gath.
Exactly.
So he's just kind of 1v2ing, holding his position while his backline's able to walk forward and hit the turret. So he just played that, like you said, very well as well.
Right, and again, I mean, this time on the Gnar, when we saw the Maokai locked in, initially we're like, oh, you and I both went, someday Maokai, they win the game, right? Don't even need him on Maokai to pull the initiates. They can rely on Shrimp for that, make him a little bit more of a playmaker and side lane threat where he can push advantages on Gnar.
And you see the benefit as well. I mean, he has the huge damage numbers. I'm sure at least 10K of that is probably thrown into the Cho'Gath and side lane pushing. But at the same time, I mean, you saw the impact in the team fights, just setting his team up for all those kills for, Altec and Keen to really put up big performances as well.
I want a third game, though, Mark, so I need Immortals to win this next one. How do they do it? My inclination, as you pointed, is that Jhin Lulu combo. I don't love it. I want to see something, again, put Ole in a position to win that lane alongside Cody Sun.
I mean, we saw it, I think it was yesterday when he ended up on that bar, just having huge performances after that. I mean, he has a great Lulu. I'm not saying, don't pick his Lulu when if it's the right thing to do, but sometimes it does feel like he's a little bit more limited in these team fights, and this was one of those games where maybe if he had a little bit more playmaking at his fingertips, and the Jhin pick is one that they keep taking really early on. Cody Sun has been doing very well on it, so I wouldn't criticize the Jhin part of this combination quite too much.
All right, 2 top teams duking it out here. We'll see if our first place team, Immortals, can even up the score when we come back for Game 2 versus Team Dignitas. Don't touch that browser. You're watching the North American LCS.
Again.
I'm going to say